Good evening. On behalf of my board colleagues, I call to order the August board meeting for the Board of Education. Today is Monday, August the 25th. Happy first day of school to everyone out there. For those here in the auditorium, as well as those watching online, thank you for being with us. Special welcome to Commissioner Thompson, ABSS staff, and as always, our friends from the media. I hope that you enjoyed our welcome message or our welcome. These are the board members and Dr. Fleming on our own back to school at some point in our lives. I won't.
You should have left the names off. We could have matched.
No, I think we could have figured it out.
But thank you to the board members for indulging me on providing those pictures. So at this time, I will turn the floor over to Ms. Harvey for Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
At this time, if we could just take an opportunity to go into a moment of silence. And if you could now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. As we move into approval of the agenda, I would like to propose an amendment on the agenda. I'd like to move 5G from the consent agenda and move it to operations, making that G2. And that is moving aged mobile classroom disposition decision, taking it from consent, moving it to operations for discussion. Any other changes to the agenda?
Motion to approve as amended.
Thank you, Dr. Parker.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 7-0. This time, you've had an opportunity to review the minutes for 4 June meetings and 2 July meetings. Is there a motion to approve those as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We will now move into our consent agenda. There are 10 items on consent. Is there a motion to approve the consent items as presented?
Motion to approve consent items as presented.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. Any discussion?
Madam Chair, I think there are 9 items with the removal of the
Oh,
ones.
did I miscount? I'm so sorry. No.
Right, sorry, 10.
Are you trying to make me look bad?
Made myself look bad.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. At this time, really quick, I want to move into Board of Education business. We were notified that the North Carolina School Boards Association is accepting nominations for their Board of Directors, and I would like to apply for that nomination. They meet 4 times a year, but I do need the board's permission and blessing to do so. I did send the cover letter as well as the application form to each of you guys for review and consideration. Any questions or comments?
I think it'd be an outstanding idea. Can we do that by consensus, Mr. Attorney?
Well, let's do a motion and second and vote.
Motion for approval.
Second.
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. Engel. Thank you, Mr. Wagner.
The motion is to approve the nomination of Sandy.
For the
Ellen Peters.
nomination of our chair.
Thank you both,
Go
gentlemen.
to Raleigh.
Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you all for that vote of confidence. We will now move into public comments, and we have one speaker this evening. Sawyer is no stranger to the podium, but I will take one quick second to go over the public comments. Very briefly, you're allowed to speak for 3 minutes. The timer will chime. We do ask that you plan accordingly and respect any additional directions given. Profanity, making threats, or revealing confidential student or personnel information will not be allowed. We do ask that you address the members of the board with your comments and not the audience. And board members, please remember we do not respond to speakers except to request clarification of points made by the speaker. And to the members of the audience, we do ask that you refrain from clapping, snapping, or vocalizing at any time during public comments. So, Mr. Jones, if you'll make your way to the podium, you are our speaker this evening.
Good evening, board members. My name is Sawyer Jones, and I'm a resident of Alamance County and the student body president of Walter and Williams High School. As you may know, Williams High School is a proud international baccalaureate or IB program school. In the past weeks, I had requested to take IB Spanish due to Spanish 5 honors not being a class this year. However, I was denied the request by our IB coordinator. He informed me that due to ABSS special program policy, I wouldn't be allowed to enroll in an IB class due to the IB enrollment period being closed in the spring of my sophomore year. After I received this, I pulled the policy and found that students who were classified as AIG during elementary school would be able to take and enroll in an IB course. I contacted the district, and I will ultimately be allowed to take IB Spanish during this academic year. With this specific policy being found, I want to work towards making an official policy to allow students who would meet the new policy requirements who are in Williams District to take and enroll in IB courses, to strengthen their academic abilities and give all students a fair chance in exploring their educational options. In a new proposed policy, students at Williams would have the opportunity to enhance their learning abilities. One great example is how at Williams, students are unable to take AP Biology since it is not offered due to scheduling conflicts with IB classes. Students would then have the ability to enroll in a 2-year IB biology class. Students would need to earn approval from that said teacher and have had academic success in that specific subject. Or, if students have a great interest in psychology, they would be required to take AP Psychology, in which after, they would be allowed to enroll in IB Psychology to have a deeper dive into what psychology is. Current IB students are not required to have any prerequisite to take IB Psych. Some may argue that students can take either ACC or ELON classes. However, for many students, these pathways are not realistic due to transportation and cost issues, and that the ACC classes are not the same rigor as IB classes. I would be more than happy to sit down with you, academic officers here at Central Office, IB teachers, and our IB coordinator to make this proposed policy a reality for all Williams students. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Dr. Fleming asked me to share that you could connect with Dr. McWhorter across the aisle and connected for that conversation. Thank you that is the only public speaker that we have tonight, but we do certainly appreciate your presence. As we transition the podium to Dr. McWhorter for curriculum, do you have anything for Superintendent Finance or Human Resources?
Not items.
Okay.
During comments, I'll have some things.
Okay. We will transition to Dr. McWhorter for a curriculum update to the podium. And while we're doing that, I want to welcome Commissioner Priola that has joined us, as well as City Councilman Sean Ewing. Pam was here at the beginning, but yes, Ms. Thompson is with us as well. You get 2 introductions tonight.
Awesome. Thank you, Madam Chair, Dr. Fleming, members of the board. What I'd like to do is just go over transition for the first 60 days in my current position and talk a little bit about the academic priorities into the 25-26 school year. So a few goals that I had coming into this position, primarily to build trust and establish visibility in the district, make sure I had an opportunity to connect with the principals, school leaders, and other district leaders, gain an understanding of the current needs, the priorities, the challenges that principals and school leaders felt, and then hopefully to identify some high leverage things that we could do in the 25-26 school year. So what I was able to do within really the first 30 days was do a listening and learning tour to all the schools. I met with all the principals individually, got to sit with them, hear about their challenges, their successes, supports that they wish they had, supports that they were really happy with, and really just have an opportunity to get to know them as people. So what that did is that led me into then identifying the priorities for the school year. Now, this was not just done in isolation in my office. This was done through multiple meetings with various stakeholders. We had some principal surveys, we had focus groups, and we really had a lot of productive conversations. So what we identified as the priorities for 25-26 And I'll get into each of these, so if you don't know what these are, I'll explain them as we go. So MTSS, which is a multi-tiered system of support, PLCs, which is professional learning communities, instructional practices, which is big and general, so we're focusing in on the foundational instructional practices, behavioral management, and school climate and culture. Now, the great thing about these priorities is you really can't work on one of these without impacting the others as well. And so none of this is done in isolation. So to talk about first, multi-tiered system of support, if you are familiar with MTSS or not, it is simply a data-based problem-solving method. So we use the MTSS problem-solving system in order to tackle academic challenges, behavior, school climate, culture. You can literally use it for anything. Now, one problem with MTSS that many schools run into is there's a lot to it. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of moving components. And if you do not have a strong, what we call core, so what you are initially delivering to students, if it's not rigorous, if it's not at the threshold it needs to be, then what you end up doing is identifying so many students that are in need of supplemental and intensive supports, which the schools simply don't have the resources to deliver. And then you end up diverting all your resources to the tier, what we call tier 2 and tier 3, but you don't have the resources then to fix the initial delivery of content that you are delivering, whether that be in behavioral management or that be in academics. So we're really going to put a lot of focus on what we deliver to students at the core level. And that would be, as you guys would think, like when you go into a classroom with the teachers delivering to students as part of their normal instruction. Database problem solving, I said, also being a part of that. And we're not going to ignore the tiered levels of supports. We're going to make sure that we do that as well, but we really want to make sure we have an emphasis on good instructional practices. The goal here being that we want to build responsive academic and behavioral management systems that ensure that every student receives the support that they need in order to be successful. So professional learning communities are really the crux of strong and continuously improving core-based instruction. So Richard DeFore coined the professional learning communities back in the 80s. And it is something that many districts across the US are still trying to refine. However, if you go to any high-performing school, I don't care what state, I don't care what county, they are all doing PLCs, and they all have very high-functioning PLCs. And the PLCs are really an opportunity for teachers to gather around data points, most commonly refer to these as their common assessments, and determine and have those conversations of what worked best. What did you do to get the results that you got? How do we reach these students that may not have gotten it? And that essentially, how are we responding to that data? Not next week, not next month, but tomorrow. And so the PLC process is something that I've used to improve multiple schools. Our highest performing schools in ABSS have great PLCs, and it is really just a model for continual success and improvement across schools. So the goal here being that we want to strengthen educator collaboration and collective responsibility for student learning. So our instructional practices, as I said, so the instructional practice piece is probably the biggest out of all of these because it encompasses just so much. So when we look at the instructional practices, research-based, the single greatest indicator or predictor of student success is how closely aligned the instruction that I'm delivering to the students is aligned to, and you're gonna be like, well, common sense, to what they're being assessed on, right? So if we have teachers working really hard, but not necessarily gearing the instruction to what may be on the AP test, what might be on the EOG or the EOC, then our students won't be successful on those assessments. And we're not teaching to the test, but we are teaching the standards that are used to determine whether or not the students learned what they were supposed to learn that academic year or in that course. So really making sure that we put a high emphasis on standards-based learning. Clear and consistent and student-friendly daily learning targets. So as you walk into a classroom, the teacher should have on the board what the expected student outcomes are for that day. I can blank, right? And this helps the students to know what I need to be able to do or what I should be able to do during today's lesson. It also helps the teachers to scaffold their lessons to ensure that they are aligned to that standard And they're increasing rigor possibly throughout the week or throughout a 2-week period to align to what we know the students need to learn versus what we are delivering in the classroom. It also assists the principals in being able to check to make sure that the instruction teachers are delivering is in line to instruction. It's probably one of the easiest lifts, but also one of the most missed across schools, not only again in North Carolina, but pretty much everywhere. Exit tickets tie in directly with the learning targets. So if I'm saying what the students need to be able to do, I can do blank, then I should have an outcome tied at the end of my lesson. So it's like basically your two ends of the sandwich. And my lesson is essentially in the middle, right? And that is essentially the meat of the lesson, right? And you're telling them what I need to start with and where I need to end up. So it gives students really that internalization that I achieved what I was supposed to achieve today, while also giving teachers that constant measure that they can use to change and modify their instruction day by day. And hopefully they have multiple checks for understanding during the lesson so they can modify it during the lesson also. Evidence-based high yield strategies. So this covers a gamut of other areas. And we put this on here because we recognize that different teachers in different schools need a lot of different things. They may need some additional focus and support on active monitoring. They may need some additional focus and support on student engagement, student dialogue, student discourse. And so in that area, it gives us the flexibility to support schools directly with what they might need to help boost their instruction. In the lesson planning with differentiation, engagement, and cognitive rigor. So we know that a lot of the teachers that we're getting may not have necessarily went to college initially to be a teacher, right? This is different than it was 20 years ago. And that they didn't have these opportunities in their classes, right, in college. And through licensure, we can still bring them on and get them in, but we need to make sure that we're supporting them and so that they know how to design a lesson, what the anatomy essentially of the lesson plan is, and help them to be successful, right? Because we may make the assumption that, oh yeah, everybody knows how to do lesson plan. But if I didn't go to school necessarily to be an educator, then that's something I may not necessarily know. So we want to make sure that we are supporting our schools in that area as well. And the goal here being that we want to ensure that all students have access to rigorous and engaging standards-aligned instruction, every classroom, every day. Behavioral management. So focus area here is school-wide, consistent expectations and routines. It can't hit this enough. Every successful teacher has consistency in their classrooms. They're consistent with their routines. Successful schools have the same thing, but it is school-wide. So whether that be then through PBIS, whether that be through capturing kids' hearts, that we are consistent in what we are doing school-wide. Now, we don't necessarily need that consistency of like from elementary A to elementary B. They have their freedom and flexibility, but we need to make sure that that school is practicing consistency, obviously in line with board policy, but also from classroom to classroom. Focusing on proactive classroom management strategies and focusing on prevention. So this is where you get into really what PBIS is, which goes back to MTSS. It's part of that and part of that problem solving. So if I look at my data, I can analyze when certain things are happening, where they're happening, and we can be proactive in the sense of making sure that we're monitoring appropriately. Principals have the freedom and flexibility to change what they are doing, to reorient their staffing schedules, but we are working with them to help them to do that problem solving. Restorative approaches to discipline. So this to me is one of those things that just sort of makes sense. Discipline doesn't always have to be punitive, right? Discipline is a learning opportunity. And we need to make sure that we take that time to have those conversations with students, with families, and so that they learn from those mistakes and that they come out the other side better and not just feeling like they were just being punished. And then the PBIS, which I already mentioned. So the goal here, obviously, we want to create safe and orderly environments that support student learning for all. You can't progress and move student learning if behavior is not in line, right? It's not something you have to do in isolation. You do it at the same time that you're improving those instructional structures as well. And then the climate and culture. So the easiest way that I can sum up climate and culture is relationships, relationships, relationships. Relationships matter. It matters from the administration to the teachers, from teacher to teacher, teacher to student, admin to student, central office to schools. And it's about, a lot of it is about respect, right? Kids know when their teachers don't like them. They know if their teachers don't respect them, right? But when a student knows that you care about them, that you love them, they'll do anything for you, right? School staff is the same way, right? When working with and for their principals, if the principal shows that compassion, that concern, again, those high expectations, right? We're not changing that we have high expectations. But I'm going to be more willing to follow you as a leader if I know that you are there to support me. Everybody's the same in that sense. And we have great resources like teacher work condition surveys where teachers have openly shared things they like, things they don't like, right? And so leveraging data points like that gives us easy ways for us to target and help improve the climate and culture of schools. Listening to students, they're talking, right? Thank you, Sawyer, for what you shared. They're letting us know things they want. And so taking those concerns seriously, and students want that safe place to learn, right? They want to know that they're valued. They want to know that they're cared about. And when they know that, the school feels differently. You can feel it when you walk into a building. And so that's what we're after. So fostering those positive, inclusive school culture that promotes engagement and achievement. Data-driven decision-making, so this is just kind of wrapping up everything. So this is not an individual priority, rather a way of doing things, right? So everything has a data point. So we are trying to improve something, then the question we just have to ask is, what are we trying to improve, why, and what does the outcome look like? So when we can identify that, and again, that's part of that problem-solving process, which no matter who you research or who you read, it always follows something along the lines of identify, analyze, plan, implement, reflect, and you just move back and forth throughout those depending on the results that you get. But if you don't track your results, you can't necessarily go back and reflect or re-implement. So we want to make sure that we are very intentional with all the work that we do. Any questions?
Questions from board members? Yes, Mr. Rogers. And then we'll go to you, Dr. Hall.
All right. So first, thank you for the presentation, Dr. McWhorter. And just listening to a couple of key points that you brought up was one thing on the instructional practices, not just teaching to the test, but teaching to making sure they're hitting the actual standards that will be along with that testing. So could you possibly give like a little bit more on that? Because I started to think about is teacher creativity in their classrooms on what can be hitting for those students in their classrooms, not just a standard thing,
Right.
like one size fit all.
Right. So a standard is not a one size fits all. What it does is essentially kind of gives you an outcome of what students should be able to do. The way that I'm going to go about and do that and the way you might go about and do that may be two entirely different things, which is great, right? Because we're not going to infringe on, teacher creativity with the lessons. Now then what you and I are going to do is when we meet in the PLC, we're going to take a look at the common assessment we used. We're going to talk about our data. And we say, oh, Mr. Rogers, wow, your data results were phenomenal. What did you do? And then what I want to do as a teacher also is then take some aspects of what you were doing, not necessarily your lesson, but aspects of your instructional strategies and the rigor and maybe some of the activities you did to really foster student learning, right? And again, that student learning then being all directed toward and around the standard will help all of our students be more successful.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And then the other thing was around the data points around school culture and climate, because that's another thing I hear educators talk about, but also parents talking about, like the school climate, school culture and stuff. And I know you had stated using some various data points and things throughout that. So what would be like some of those data points or ways of collecting that data on seeing where the school climate and culture is at?
So as I said, I think one data point that we have, and we get it every 2 years, right, is the teacher working condition survey. Now, We'll have it assessed again at the end of this year, which is great timing for us, right? However, we don't necessarily have to wait until the end of the year. So what we'll do, and this will be one of the multiple fresh professional developments we deliver to school administration, is looking at my data. So we get every district gets working condition survey for the whole district, and then we get it all for the individual schools. So as a school leader, what I want to do is utilize my own personal working condition survey. Now I might then use state averages and district averages to help me know where I stand, but I'm going to find the individual pieces on there, and it's organized quite nicely into different categories of what I think might be the highest leverage items for me at my school, and you may pick different things for you at your school. And then there's nothing that stops us from then giving a survey out to staff multiple times, having multiple touch points. As a principal, what I did, literally no paraphrasing here, but like I took the work condition survey, I presented it to the staff, I identified the areas that we were going to focus on, and identified how we were going to focus on it. And then I had multiple checkpoints throughout the year with my leadership team to fix those items, which then, again, it's sort of like what some of the items I was talking here, it's hard to work on just one thing without impacting other items. And so we saw massive jumps across our work conditions that improved, obviously, the climate and culture. But when you shift then to MTSS, to the PLCs, you're also impacting the climate and culture because you're creating a more collaborative environment there as well.
Thank you. And then just one last thing about the school improvement plans and the
Yes.
progress along the way, because we get the presentation, we see everything on the school improvement plans, and so thankful for the work that the leadership teams work on to create those. And so for you, what would be, I guess, from the academic office side, checking that progress, checking in with them on how they're going along with those school improvement plans, and if there needs to be any adjustment around those?
Are you in my head? Like, these are great questions, man. So school improvement plans, there's the old school way of thinking about them, which is like, oh God, I completed it, and then putting it on a shelf and it gets all dusty, right? We don't even actually put them on shelves anymore, they're all digital. But not referencing it. Like, the school improvement plan is a living document that schools need to be utilizing throughout the year, right? And although I may have a goal on my school improvement plan that is, let's make something arbitrary, I'm going to increase this EOC score by 5 points. Well, how do I know that, right? What action steps am I taking throughout the year that are tied to the priorities that we have here, which all of these are going to fit in very nicely no matter what school's SIP says. But it's then measuring how your action steps are being enacted and what my data points are throughout the year, so that when the end of the year comes, there's no surprise. I know I'm going to increase, or I know I was missing the marks, and I know that we're not going to make the gains that we wanted to. Either way, which is sometimes just as valuable because we learn a lot from making mistakes also. But school improvement plans need to be used throughout the entire year. And they need to have multiple data points that a school is meeting on. And they're meeting monthly to discuss these. And so they're measuring the different data points and their progress throughout the year as the year goes on. And I will also say school improvement plans is a continuous learning opportunity. No matter where I have been in my career, it's always something that principals, I don't want to say they struggle with, but sometimes the struggle is to make them as efficient and effective as possible, and really as targeted as they need to be, in identifying that although this is where I want to be, these are the 3, 5, 6, 7 steps I'm going to take to help me get there. And so those are things that we will continue to work with schools on throughout the year.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Great
Thank you,
questions.
Mr. Rogers. Dr. Hall?
Excellent presentation. I really appreciated the vision and sort of seeing what we're trying to do, and really appreciate the comment about these aren't silos, right? So they're all interrelated, and working on one's going to improve the other. And my question is, I'm a data guy, so I love the idea of using the data to help make decisions and make improvements. In your initial conversations and sort of exploring, is there things that you're missing or things that you would like to see that you might have had other places to help inform you on those decisions?
To help inform on decisions? No, I think the data. So the conversations I was able to have with the principals, they were extremely open. In the data point, data is, right? It is what it is. And so identifying those priorities, I can't say there was any additional data points or conversations that I felt like was necessary, because again, these were all things that were shared pretty universally across the district as things that they wanted to work on and wanted to focus on. And overall, I'd say the principals were hungry for the help and support in these areas, and so. Yeah, I was very pleased with just the openness of the dialogue, especially since I had just started. Like, they were just very open and very willing to share.
Ms. Harvey. Thank you, Dr. Hall.
When you talk about discipline being a learning opportunity, can you just kind of go more into that? I'm not going to say 100% against, suspensions and things like that, but it does bother me when we send our kids home, when we can take that moment to teach, when we can take that moment and reflect on, hey, this is what you done, but let's look at it a different way, or let's go about it a different way. So can you just kind of go in just a little bit on that?
So I think a lot of it goes to, well, there's a few areas, right? One is that we have a genuine concern for our students, right? We want them to be successful. And when I have that internal desire for every student to be successful, things like being proactive when it comes to discipline and looking at the restorative practices becomes much more natural, right? And so if I hear that a student might be having some issues with another student, and again, I'm using essentially examples to articulate, but I'm not just going to sit in the office or sit in my classroom and keep my fingers crossed and hope that the students make it home today without having an altercation. I'm going to pull student A, I'm going to have a conversation. I'm going to pull student B, I'm going to have a conversation. I'm going to get student A and B together, and we're going to squash it, right? And that's how I keep an issue from becoming an actual issue. Other areas of being proactive with it, again, is looking at the data, looking where things are happening, and what I can do to proactively target those things. Again, it's not waiting for them to happen. It's using the data to let me know that, hey, historically, over a 3-year period, this time, this location, or in these areas, right? And so I might do some things that are more proactive school-wide or classroom-wide. It's a lot of it is the unstructured activities that is when students, well, kids are kids, right? And I'm not going to pretend for a minute I was an angel as a child. I was not, which is probably one of the reasons I'm so good in dealing with student discipline. But also, when we have the opportunity to make the consequences make sense, right? And there's only so much of that we can do to maintain a safe and orderly school environment. But when we have those opportunities to make sure that we are taking advantage of those things. And also when students come back, whether it be something like longer term in ISS, longer term in OSS, that they're not just back and then I'm saying, oh man, I really hope they do well. That as an administrator, as a teacher, you're meeting with the student. Again, if it was an issue with another student, you're making sure the issue is squashed, and just having that dialogue with the student, with the parent, in ensuring that they've essentially, I don't want to say learned the lesson, but pretty much learned the lesson on what the expected behavior is, what they can do to improve it, what I can do as an educator to help them to be more successful, because we're in this together. So.
Thank you, and thank you so much for the presentation.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Any other questions from board members? Dr. Parker?
Great, and I'll reiterate, it was great to see the presentation and kind of see a summary of your approach. Not this minute, because I don't like to think on my feet all the time. If it would be great if you could summarize, if there was a common theme among principals and the discussions you've had, we would like support in this area, just as far as the the board information. Yeah.
These are the areas that they had asked for support in. Which is why I identified them as the priorities. Now, schools are at different places. I want to be really clear. Like, the schools are at different places in each of these, and not one school said all of these things, right? And a lot of that, and this is a great question, because recognizing that it is not a one-size-fits-all. Take something like the PLC process, which is that teacher collaboration around student data, right? That PLC is going to look different in a school from grade level to grade level, and it's going to look different from school to school. Now, there's a mold of what the PLC needs to include, right? What teachers need to be doing in that meeting. But the exact way that I do it versus the exact way that you do it can differ. And we can still both find a lot of success there. So it's ensuring that we're meeting the schools where they're at, and that no matter where they are, we're helping them take the next step forward.
Yeah, got it. And I guess, to ask a part B to that question, you know, I know there are some things that each school does individually and some things that are handled at the district level. I recall that, you know, last year there was a lot of rolling your own as far as a math curriculum for elementary schools, and there was discussion, you know, can everyone get on the same page and not only reduce some spending as far as buying multiple programs, but have a place where everyone's kind of pushing together, and that way they have a common, you know, platform as they're discussing how to solve problems with each other and that kind of thing. And so I guess one of the questions was, as far as themes, if there was something that stood out. And maybe another way to ask it. So I'll ask the question this way. Usually there are a couple, you come in to a new position, you have a couple of months and figure out what's going on and you get comfortable with things. And then there are one or two priorities, or the things that you're going to try to do your first year or your first, you know, however long. And it would be great to get your thoughts once you formulated them and finished talking to everybody. So maybe next time, as far as the...
Absolutely. Or anytime you want to call me. So.
Absolutely, thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Dr. Fleming?
No, I appreciate Dr. McWhorter's presentation here. Obviously, I knew quite a bit about what he was going to share. Going on the curriculum piece, one of the things we are going to be working on, and Dennis is working on this in technology as well, is tracking our cost across different curriculum programs and making sure that we're only renewing subscriptions of programs that are meeting the mark. I do think there's some areas we can clean up there. As far as common curriculum is concerned, we do have common elementary math. We are working on a common elementary reading ELA curriculum. We're waiting for the state. I will tell you, probably some of our struggles in our schools in third grade reading is because of the fact that we don't have elementary reading curriculum. And I tell people that seriously and tongue-in-cheek across the state, and I say, wait, ABSS doesn't have a elementary reading curriculum? Nope, they don't. And people find that quite shocking. So I say all that this year, that's what we're going to be working on, and making sure, going back to the finances, I know we got two commissioners in here, so I'll make sure I say it in front of them too, that we do believe there may be some savings in the programs that we're buying.
In the
No, we are going to be getting a data warehouse that this board will have to approve because of the cost, and that will allow teachers and administrators to see the movement of their students forward. Again, that's a common thing in most school districts. We haven't had one here, and I just want to say this, that I appreciate Mr. McWhorter's vision, and I will tell you, our senior leadership team is complete. I think we've got a great group of folks that are sitting over here. Dr. McWhorter's added a lot since he's been here. I appreciate Dr. Morton's time while she was with us as well. But I really feel good moving forward, and probably next week or so, or well, when we meet again, all the state assessments will have been released, and we'll kind of know where we're at. I think there'll be some highlights, there'll be some lowlights as well, but I will tell you, in working with Dr. McWhorter, I really think we've got a good path forward on the instruction and academic side, and I appreciate him coming to ABSS, I can tell you that.
In the elementary, the language arts standards are changing for next year, so before we pick a curriculum, we're going to wait to get a little bit more guidance from the state as to how that change might impact us.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from board members? Thank you, Dr. Fleming. All right, thank you so much. Excellent presentation. This time I will invite Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, Dr. Christy Davis, to the podium.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, and Dr. Fleming. I only have one item tonight. It is a nursing contract with MGA Home Health Care. It's an addendum contract. We just needed to add an additional student that needed a nurse. So the contract is for $156,000.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Questions from board members?
Motion to approve?
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Dr. Davis. And at this time, I will invite Mr. Greg Hook, Assistant Superintendent of Operations, to the podium for our next two agenda items.
Madam Chair, Dr. Fleming, and members of the board, tonight I want to walk through the current status of our projects. I've put the title on here, Back to School Project Update, but I think it's a good time for us to review what we have completed and where we're going. So I'm going to just read through these, and you stop me and ask me any questions you have as I go through. So this first page are our county-funded roofing projects. We've brought a lot of these things to this board to have contracts approved. The first one on the list, Haw River Elementary Gym, is under contract now, and that project should begin anytime. The Graham Middle School roof, this is 95% complete. I put on here we have a supply chain issue. The contractor is waiting on the metal company to manufacture a specific piece of trim metal. We have the wall panels and the roof panels. If you go by Graham Middle, you can see what it looks like. But the piece of trim is what holds the wall panels and the roof panels together. So we're stuck and the contractor's stuck. It's no fault of the contractor. It's a small piece, and the size of that project compared to other projects probably going on across the country keeps pushing our order back in the queue with the metal manufacturer. The next item is the Graham High School roof. It's 95% complete. We've seen a lot of progress there in the past few weeks, and that one should be completed at any time. The next one we have here is the Southern Alamance High School roof. That work is complete, and I put on here we're working on the punch list. Our roofing engineer will come back and inspect all the work and create a punch list for the contractor to go back and make sure they fix anything that's not up to snuff. The same situation exists with the Western Alamance Middle School roof. That project is complete, and we're waiting on the punch list there for the contractor. Eastern Alamance High School and Western Alamance High School, both of those projects are well underway. We have a lot of activity with those roofs going on even today. And then the South Mebane Elementary roof project, that's a small section of South Mebane Elementary. We have some active leaks there, and that's in the bidding process now. The next page that I have is our county-funded HVAC projects. These were all part of the design build project that we presented here about a year ago. They were all supposed to be completed by Thanksgiving, and we're very pleased that most all of these are completed, and we're in good shape. So Haw River Elementary, the boiler installation is complete. Graham High School and Southern High School, the heat pumps and the fresh air system installation is complete. Western Alamance High School and the next one, Eastern Alamance High School, installation is complete, and the contractor is working on a punch list there, but the equipment is running. B. Everett Jordan, Smith Elementary, Hillcrest Elementary, and Alexander Wilson, the chillers are all installed and they're up and running. So that's going to be finished well ahead of schedule. The next item I have for you, the Eastern and Western High were part of the original bond projects from several years ago. We're continuing to work on resolution of the roof issues with the contractor. We're going back and forth on plans to correct a water ponding issue. I had shown the board some pictures of what that looked like quite a while back. And then at Eastern High and Graham High, we went back several months ago and picked up some project work there to complete some sections of the security walls that were not in the original design and the original contractor's plans when those projects were completed years ago. So right now the walls are up. We're awaiting the doors and the door hardware at those two sites. Next, I have some capital outlay, what I frequently call PAYGO funded projects. A lot of these match exactly what was listed in our PAYGO plan that I presented here back probably in March to you all. And we've made great progress here. Southern Middle School, we have the fire panel replacement installed, and that's working. Andrews Elementary, Newland Elementary, East Lawn Elementary, and B. Everett Jordan, we removed the gym floors. We had to do asbestos abatement in the first three there. There was no asbestos in the B. Everett Jordan project, but all of those gym floors are in place and ready to use, except for B. Everett Jordan. They were completing the painting of the lines on that floor today. So it'll just be a few more days, and it'll be ready to use. Other capital outlay funded projects, we're trying to go back and replace whole school window blinds. We've never really done that. And so I think about this as like a capital improvement plan just for window blinds. We did several schools last year, and we have several more underway now. Hall River Elementary is under contract. They'll be working at that school this weekend. AO Elementary is under contract. Grove Park is in progress. East Lawn is now complete. And then Woodlawn Middle School is under contract. A lot of these schools had the original blinds to the school when they were built, and they're in pretty bad shape. A couple of these schools where we had ESSER projects where we replaced windows, wherever a window was put in, they put a new blind in. So at AO Elementary and East Lawn Elementary, these two were small projects where we went back and got the other half of the blinds that were not part of the ESSER projects. And then the last one here is the Eastern High window blind replacement contract that was on the consent agenda tonight. Some more capital outlay funded projects. The Cummins High Athletic Complex irrigation system installation, that is complete. That covers the baseball field, the softball field, the football field, and the practice field. Eastern High Football Stadium bleacher upgrades, that is complete. We took up all of the bleachers and the walkway handrails and reconfigured it and put all new seats and rails in so that we got the railing off of the concrete joints, and it looks really nice. Graham High Football Stadium bleacher upgrades is in progress. We've done a lot of concrete work there, but the materials are now here, and they're working on the safety upgrades to the different sections of the bleachers. They're going to do a different section at a time to get that completed during football season. And then the Williams High Football Stadium bleacher upgrades is under contract. That includes putting in walkway handrails and then also fixing any brackets that are degraded or broken across the whole home section of bleachers. The Garrett Hallfield's roof water intrusion investigation and renovation, that's in progress. The engineers are working on that project now. This project is around where the high walls for the gyms and some of the arts area meet the low sloped metal roof, and water is coming into the building, and it's been coming in for quite a while. Some more capital outlay funded projects. We put painting on the capital outlay plan this year, and what we're trying to do now is go back, looking at the painting that was done 8 to 10 years ago and picking up there and repainting hallways, gym areas, and high-use areas. So far this summer, Grove Park Elementary, we've repainted the hallways, the gym, and the cafeteria. Hall River Elementary, we've repainted all the hallways. Cummings, we repainted all of the hallways, and we moved the blue stripe to the top instead of in the middle, so we wouldn't have so much peeling on the walls. Western Middle School, we had a lot of water damage there from the roofing situation. I mentioned earlier we have the new roof, so we went back and repainted all the hallways and the ceilings in those areas. Western High, we have a new roof on Western High as part of the roofing project. On the library part, the roof is complete, so we've gone in and fixed the sheetrock and repainted where we had water damage there. At Southern Middle, we repainted the gym, and then we had to do a renovation of the exterior courtyard, concrete block walls that have stucco on them. A lot of them were damaged and coming apart, so we did that as part of that project as well. Western Alamance High, the main student parking lot paving is complete. Cummings, the driveway that leads off the main road all the way down to the auditorium, that part is under contract. We've patched up the large pothole to get us by until the paver can get on site. The weather has really affected pavers to a great degree. Southern Middle, we went back and did some crack filling and seal coating there to the teacher and visitor parking lot and to the car rider drop-off area. That was not part of the bond project several years ago, so we filled all the cracks and sealed that, and it looks really good. And then at Elon and Haw River and Garrett, we repainted the parking lot markings at those two lots, and that's a place we're going to continue to work. We have a lot of parking lots that are degraded, and in particular, the markings are not well visible. Then I have some future CIP-funded projects. This is from the most recent CIP we've talked about in this meeting. Dennis, can you all bump to the next? We talked about in this meeting the CIP, and we presented our CIP proposal. And for the most part, it was funded, and these are the projects that are upcoming there. The Sylvan Elementary roof, that's a complete school. That design contract I'll be bringing to you at next month's meetings so we can start doing the roof design there. Southern Middle School roof, that's a complete re-roof except for the gym and cafeteria, and I'll be bringing that contract to you all in the September meeting. We have the design complete for, and the funding in place for the gym and cafeteria, but since we've received funding for the rest of the building, we're holding that. We want to put it all out to bid at the same time. We feel like we'll get better pricing if we bid it all together. Then the other pieces I have here, the Haw River Elementary chiller and the Sylvan Elementary chiller, I'll be bringing you a contract for those. We've already bidded it and made a selection. I'll be bringing a contract for those next month. And then the Graham High HVAC upgrades, that was on the consent agenda, so we have chosen our design builder there, and very soon I'll be bringing you a pre-construction contract to get that project going. And then some future capital outlay projects. We'll have lots more than I've listed here, but these are the ones that we know for certain we'll be working on. Graham High student parking lot repaving, Woodlawn Middle painting the hallways, cafeteria, and gym. Newland Elementary, the hallways, cafeteria, and gym painting. Graham High, their irrigation system is not working well at all, and some of it's not functional. So we're going to pick that up. And then we're going to do security camera and keyless door access installation projects, but I just listed that as TBA because we're still making some site selections there and doing some design in order to be able to put those kind of things out to bid.
Thank you, Mr. Hook. Questions, comments from board members? Yes, Mr. Engel.
Just comments. Very thorough report, Mr. Hook, and I'm excited to see the sheer number of projects that we've completed and the others that we're getting ready to complete. So thank you for that report.
You're welcome.
Ms. Harvey? Thank you, Mr. Engel.
Just a comment. I just want to say thank you, Greg, for all that you and your team do. This is awesome just to be able to see where we're at, but also where we're going. And again, you guys do a great job, and I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Mr. Rogers?
Yep, and so I'll echo the same thing on the thank you for giving the presentation and showing what's completed, what is moving forward. Thank you for all of that, Mr. Hook. And just a couple of things that I know I've done talked to you about with the Graham student lot it's good to see that on here. But I know we had also talked about some spots out there, I think through the drop-off area that I guess from the equipment for the roofing had done damage. And I know you were saying that the roofing company or the company was going to be fixing those. Was that able, or is that happening or anything on that?
Our team did some patching there to get us through for now. No, it didn't come through, but they're going to take care of the financial aspect from the holes that they created. The problem, Mr. Rogers, is they're driving their equipment on the top. When we investigated what it would take to fix those holes, very similar to what I brought to you all at Western High School, we discovered the base was never correct underneath to start with. So it's very difficult to hold someone accountable for what you see on the top when there's more to what's underneath. But that driveway part is going to be repaired fully when we repave the lot.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. Hook. And then just another one, because I know you had on here about the Cummins athletic irrigation stuff, and just another thing to just throw out there that I think I might have asked you about before, and you talked about in here, is a future project around the athletic fields lighting, the baseball, softball, I guess, area too. And I think you might have told me that y'all were going to be starting to look at something about around what that project would be and entail for that. So I guess, would that be something that will probably come up on like a future thing too?
Well, I think that I went back and listed it in the future year in the capital improvement, or no, the capital outlay plan, but not in the 25-26 year. So I put it in there, and then that would be dependent on funding in that year.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hook.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Hook, I do want
Rogers.
to thank you for you and your team, your yeoman's work that you put into this. I think there's been degradation with our facilities over the past several years. I do thank our county commissioners for supporting this project, but as you travel through our campuses, folks, you're going to see some issues within our athletic fields. I was at Cummings last week, and our softball fields, our baseball fields, they need work. But I thank you and your team for all that you're doing. I know this is very difficult in a budgeting process and get this approved, but our facilities are improving. We're getting better, and thank you for your team continue to do so and supporting us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Any other board comments or questions? Oh, yes, Dr. Fleming.
I always have something to say at the end of a great presentation. I do want to thank Mr. Hook, and I appreciate Mr. Wagner for what he just said, because I was going to make that point that when we say all of these are funded, someone funded them, and obviously it's taxpayers and allocated through our county commissioners, so I appreciate them. Again, since I know they're in the room, I would thank them even if they weren't in the room. But we do appreciate that. And the other thing I wanted to say, Mr. Hook, while he is wonderful at doing this, we did not intend for him to do that this evening. We were going to have our facilities study presentation, but that had to be moved. The presenter and the individual who did the study had basically a family medical commitment that he needed to be at, and we felt like, hey, that's more important. So we will have that next month. So Mr. Hook made a good substitute for this evening, because I think it was very good information. And I say all that I did want to let the board know, though, that next month we will have, and I believe during our daytime meeting next month, in September, we will have our facility study. Is required by the state every 5 years, and it'll be a big one. I've seen a preview of it, and it might take your breath away a little bit, but it will be really good information. I think you'll enjoy hearing from it. So, thank you, sir.
All right, the next item that I have, you all moved item F from the consent agenda to item 2 under operations. This was the item during the work session titled Aged Mobile Classroom Disposition Decision, and the precis read, staff will present a request to the board to declare 12 aged mobile classrooms as surplus assets that may be discarded. That word discarded is I suppose, a more generalized term. I remember at the last meeting, after discussing this, and I presented the age of those 12 mobiles and the locations. Oh, thanks, Dennis. Dr. Parker asked what are next steps, and I indicated if you approved it, I would demolish them. I'm going to take that back. If approved, we're going to post these on Gov Deals to try to sell them. I'm not going to post all 12 at one time. We'll post several, try to get them sold. If we have to repost, we will. Then work on the next group and then the next group to see if we can get them sold. And then if not, we will demolish them. And I think I mentioned last time, when people find out, we even have tried to give one away to, back when we tried to give one away when people, it was an emergency management group, found what it cost to take it apart, move it, and set it back up. They said, you keep it. It's very difficult. But we'll give that a shot. So that this item would require a vote.
Thank you, Mr. Hook. Is there a motion for that direction to Mr. Hook
So
from the board? Thank you, Mr. Engel. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Any discussion?
I have one comment, which
Yes,
is
sir.
that the joke goes, someone put out a sofa and said, free sofa, and no one took it, and then, put a price on it of $20, and then someone came to take it. So maybe this is the same case here, hopefully. That's all.
I have a wild comment. These modulars, the two pieces, a lot of chicken farmers, major ones, they take them and separate them and use them for free-ranging chickens, where they put a fence around it and they move it around. You see it over in eastern Guilford County, so you may be able to sell some of those.
So there are mobile homes full of chickens?
Yeah. It's in other words, Dr. Parker, you got it.
Okay.
You use that for their protection, and while they're free ranging.
someone that'll take them all.
Dan's
He-
gonna take
He's very
them.
knowledgeable.
There's one over the Teague farm. It's over right off of 61. They utilize them out there. 61 South. They use them out there for that very thing. Bunch of Rhode Island Reds running around out there, free ranging hens.
I think somewhere in there was a motion and a second.
Yeah, there was.
Dr. Fleming wants
Yeah,
to
there
make a
was.
comment, and then I have a question. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I just wanted to share one thing, that we are going to put these up for sale, but please, I want everyone to understand that when and Ms. Trick made this point, when people find out what it's going to take to move them and all, they back away, because it's $10,000-$15,000 to move a mobile home that might be worth $1,000. So when we cannot sell them, we are going to demolish them. If we get a buy, and we're not going to wait 6 months. If XYZ nonprofit wants it and they're trying to figure out a way to pay for it to move it, we're going to give them 30 days or something, but we're going to get rid of them, because if not, they're going to sit around forever. And we do not want, it lowers the street value, if you will, or yeah, that's what I was going to say, the value of the school. So we're going to move on this quick.
So if someone is, thank you, Dr. Fleming. If someone is interested in one of our 12 mobile classrooms, can they reach out to you, or do they need to wait for it to be posted on Gov Deals, or?
Well, they do have to bid through Gov Deals.
Okay.
They're welcome they could contact me, and we could make sure we let them know when they're posted,
Okay,
and then they would be in the competitive bidding on Gov Deals.
okay. So make sure that was on public record, that we can guide them to where they need to get if they want to purchase one of their classrooms. Okay, so I do think in all that conversation, there was a motion and a second, and we've had lots of lively discussion. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, thank goodness. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Hook.
Thank you.
Dan is bringing us a picture next meeting, so
Of it being used as a hen house.
we will move into board and superintendent comments, and I will let Dr. Fleming kick that off for us this evening.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. I'm waiting to see the picture. I hope we all enjoyed summer as we enter the back-to-school season. Our staff and students are back, and I had an enjoyable day visiting schools. I visited 10 schools today. I will see all of our schools by Thursday afternoon, and then I might take a nap after that, but we'll see. We would like to extend a special welcome and thanks to all of our new teachers who are choosing to start or continue their career with ABSS. Congratulations to our new Principal of the Year, Aaron Millspaugh from AO Elementary, and Cynthia O'Neill, who's our Assistant Principal of the Year from Garrett Elementary. As you can expect, they were amazed, as were the school staff, and we kind of barged into their staff meetings, their school opening meetings, to make these announcements. So we appreciate them allowing us to do that. We had a fantastic kickoff to the school year with our school leadership a few weeks ago. We are excited to welcome our new administrators to ABSS, and I'm excited to begin my first full school year here in ABSS. And while we have accomplished a lot this year, we'll now turn our attention to instruction and academics, as you heard from Dr. McWhorter earlier. We focused last year a lot on our finances, and thanks to Mr. Messer for helping us out in that area. Our facilities and Mr. Hook and all of our auxiliary service departments. As you could see from his presentation, we're rolling along. In my mind, many of them are small projects, not necessarily in price, but in the grand scheme of things, we know we have some really large projects lingering out there that we need to get to, but it is time we turn our attention to academics. And this is kind of, as I presented to the board a little less than a year ago, is we had to get our house in order, and now we're going to start working on really what our core focus and mission is on. We are going to be getting a data warehouse that will be presented to you in the upcoming meeting or two, and that's going to allow, again, our staff and our administrators to track where students are in their academic performance, so they're not surprised when it comes to testing season, and we're able to track not just the student performance, attendance, all different kinds of metrics there. I'm really excited about that. We have several opportunities to work on, but we also will have a lot of celebrating once we accomplish our goals in a year. When we come back a year from now and take a look at what we've worked on, and we look at the grades a year from now, we're really going to have, I think, some celebrations, and I'm really looking forward to that. Finally, I'm going to go off script because this is something that I noticed today. As I mentioned, we visited 10 schools today, and we'll have a little less than 30 to go. Our cell phone policy, of course, took effect today. Our cell phone procedure, I should say, took effect today. I'm really pleased in what I saw. In a few schools, I did see a phone or two and mentioned it to the principal or to the teacher or to that individual student. I will say that Williams High School, we went to this afternoon. I saw Sawyer, talked to him for a minute. No cell phones at all. I didn't see a cell phone in the place. And so I just wanted to give them extra kudos at Williams, because now some of the other high schools don't have the advantage of me saying that because I haven't visited them yet and don't have a board meeting that night. But since I visited Williams today, I will have to say that I really feel like as of right now they have probably the best implementation for cell phones, and I appreciate that. And I know they don't like. Sawyer and I were talking about it. We don't like it. It is the law, and we're going to carry that through. But I do think at the end of the day, it will be a good thing. And then finally, as I mentioned earlier, our facility study will be next month, as that needed to be moved forward another month. Our next meeting will be our September 9th work session. That's where that facility study will be, and that'll be at 12:30 p.m. And I look forward to seeing you there. And pending any questions, Madam Chairman, I'm happy. Pending any questions, that completes my comments this evening.
Any questions for Dr. Fleming? All righty, we will move into board member comments. Who wants to kick us off?
Seems like I get this.
Thank
honor
you,
all the
Mr.
time.
Wagner.
First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for a new ABSS school year. For you elementary kids, first in, welcome. We love serving you and take the opportunity to work with your parents and fellow student members to better your academic education. Middle school kids, we call you the tweener years. You're in your lifespan where you're growing physically and mentally, and you have a lot of challenges in front of you. But I challenge you to really work with your teachers and your staff members and your parents and continue your education. And high school kids, don't blink. Do not blink, because I promise you, every person on this board today blinked, and we're on the graduation stage. As a high school student, you're forging forward to be successful in your careers after high school. What I mean by that is study, and study some more. What means after the 12th grade is your academics. Athletics, extracurricular activities are fine and fun, but what's going to move you forward is academics. So I challenge each one of you to put academics first and athletics and secondary curricular activities second, because folks, after you graduate from high school, there's 99.9% of every athlete in this country doesn't go on to play the next sport. So I challenge each one of you to keep your head down in the books, work with your teachers, listen to your coordinators, listen to your families, and ensuring that you have a career beyond high school. And thank you for being here. This board is here to dedicate to you. We love you guys. We can't wait to serve you further. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Mr. Rogers?
We'll just keep it going down the line. But yes, welcome back to all of our students that started today. I know ABEC has already been going, but welcome back. I had the joy this morning of walking into Hillcrest with my little niece who started kindergarten, and she was so excited this morning, just almost running to the classroom. So I hope she keeps that energy throughout her K through 12 time. And also just seeing all of the smiling faces of the kids, the parents, the excitement of the teachers, everyone. That's just a great joy. Walking around a couple of schools with Dr. Fleming and the crew over at Hillcrest and at Smith. And then when I went over to Turrentine today, getting to see the sixth graders that was going through their transition and standing there with AP Oliver. And she's like, hey, do you know where you're going? Some of them like, yeah. Some of them's like, no, but they just kept on walking. So that was great. But, and then thank you to Sawyer for coming out, making the public comment. Always great to see Sawyer. Today I was telling his AP, he's such a great representation for his high school, but also he's a great representation for student engagement. And we have a lot of students throughout our district that are like Sawyer, that are very engaged in what is happening in their schools and around schools. So thank you to all of those young leaders and leaders of our future. Just to shout out a couple of things I got to do before last time we made comments. The senior leadership retreat was incredible, getting to sit with our principals and APs and listening to their visions for their schools. I'm excited about what they're going to bring. I got to go to the welcome back breakfast at Graham High School and say a few things to them maybe like a week ago. Then also attending various back-to-school backpack, school supply, back-to-school bashes. I was actually an MC for one this past weekend at North Park, and just seeing all the families that came out there. We had the Cummings cheerleaders that was out there that cheered. We had the Eastern Alamance cheerleaders that came out there and cheered. So it was also just great being out in the community and seeing all of those things happening and people ready for school to start, but just so many community members who want to invest in our kids and invest in their futures. Thank you to cabinet staff on all of your work that you do all the time, and especially to our educators who are in our classrooms every day, that continue to work for our students every day. Thank you for showing up for us, being there with us, our bus drivers, just all of our staff throughout our school system, cafeteria workers today, how they were smiling at the kids. It's just an excitement of being back in school. And a couple of our educators even said to me, it's a different feel this year from the past couple of years. They're just really excited about that. So thank you for all of what everybody is doing.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers.
Great. So I'll reiterate some of the comments about how great it is that school's starting again. I will say that if you're a parent dropping off a child, you need to pull all the way forward on the circle. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. It was good to start getting the weekly phone call from the principal again. Always looking forward to that on Sunday afternoons. And I will say, seriously, we approved this on the consent agenda. Thank you to everyone who made gifts to the district, whether it was to a specific school or to a specific program. It used to be we would hear them and then vote on them, but just wanted to make sure that was called out. And I'll say it at the very end, I don't have long comments today, and usually I don't talk about scientific papers, but there was one that just dropped on, it was the 12th of August, and it's the title, Removing Phones from Classrooms Improves Academic Performance. And I wasn't sure how big the effect was, but it was a randomized controlled trial of 17,000 students. Now, I'm not going to get into the details, but I will say that the students on the treatment arm who had the restrictions at the end of the trial were more supportive of cell phone restrictions. Maybe the fear of missing out and doing the BlackBerry prayer, like we used to call it, maybe that diminishes with time, and they appreciated it more later. So, and it was especially pronounced kind of on the lower half of the bell curve as far as student performance. So I know that this was a change this year, and I appreciate everyone going along with it. I think we're going to look back and say this was a good change, and hopefully with a couple of tweaks, this is a long-term district policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Ms. Harvey?
Oh, it's my time. No. First of all, thank you, Sawyer, for showing up today. You're amazing. Happy first day back, okay? Today I started off at Cummings. So I visited 8 schools today, and I started off at Cummings. And I'm sure the people that were coming through the car router line thought I was crazy. I had a poster board with welcome back out there, and I'm holding it up real high, and some people are waving and some people are smiling, but I wanted kids to know that we are super excited for them to be back in school. We're super excited for what the school year is going to bring. I want to thank our teachers, our administrators for all that you do, the cabinet. You make our job so easy up here for what we do, because you guys go out here and you do the real work, okay? When I went to schools today, the people, they're like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I continue to say, listen, I'm not doing anything. The work is being done truly by you, the people in the school, the bus drivers, the teachers, the custodians, everyone who puts a hand in this. Those are the people who make it work. Huge welcome to my daughter, who slid in the middle of the meeting, who started her first senior day today. So thank you for coming. Just huge thank you to everyone. I promise I'm just amazed at all the things that you do, how you continue to make ABSS amazing, how you continue to make ABSS run on a daily. Some of you don't get summer vacation, and that just goes to show how much you truly care about our district and how we're going to move forward and the great things that we're going to do in the future. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Looking forward to a great year and a great year with these great group of people up here as well. So thank you as well.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Dr. Hall?
I'm not sure how much more I can say after these 4 over here, but I was calculating, I won't date myself too much, but this is my 44th plus year of first days of school, between elementary through college, through 26 years starting tomorrow at Elon. So, and then obviously with my kids, I can't appreciate enough, this is like my real first day also on this job, for having a full year being on the board. I'm looking forward to once again working with everybody here. But thank you for everybody in the ABSS system. I went to that Back to Teacher event with my 2 kids last week, and just the energy that was there between families and kids, and running up and seeing old teachers and new teachers and principals and assistant principals. I mean, it's just contagious. I mean, and I had that same feeling. I was sort of joking, or like, I can't believe Sandy's asking us for these beautiful photos that we have here. But it was fun to go back and find those and to sort of think about those. And I had 7 that I laid out for my children and said, hey, which ones should I send? And my daughter selected this one. She's like, "Oh, Dad, you used to have hair." I was like, "I did, yeah." and she goes, "And this one, you actually looks like you might be smiling." So that was how that one got chose. But I think it is sort of a reminder of what school is, where we can go, and the future is bright for ABSS, and I'm looking forward to helping out with that.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. Vice Chair Engel.
Yeah, one more thing, and then I'll get to what I'm gonna say about today. We're not talking about a small hen house, folks. We're talking about 200 or 300 hens, at a business, and so I just wanted to say that. So there could be somebody out there that wants to buy some. Yeah, tractors and feed. They make feed and everything. But anyhow, it was a good day. I didn't get to go out till right after lunch today, and I went to Pleasant Grove, Alexander Wilson, and South Mebane Elementaries, and then I went over to Southeast High, and then I'll hit some more somewhere else in the county tomorrow. I'll go in a different direction. But the traffic was rough. How rough in a lot of places. Over at Southeast High School, I watched a principal get out in the road and work traffic for 45 minutes. On 119, you know, 119 comes through there, and he does that. He does that every year. I saw another principal and a assistant principal working traffic. They're dedicated. We've got dedicated employees. I'm telling you that right now. Good folks. These kids were excited today. The teachers were, as several of you stated, they were excited today. To be back. There's a different atmosphere that I am seeing, and it's a good thing. I've been around a long time, so I'm just excited about this school year. I think it's going to be a great school year, and with a lot of good things happening. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Engel. I've often said the beauty of going last is I can just say ditto to all the great things that you guys have said. Welcome back. It's exciting to see the new year kick off with a lot of energy. I was able to pop in a couple of our schools today, and I visited some of the kindergarten classes where they had the staggered entry. And I was talking to one little girl, and she's like, I'm playing with my blocks, and I've made this new friend, and he's playing with his Legos, and, we're busy. So it's kind of nice to see that there was hands-on engagement in our classrooms. We've all heard a little bit about traffic. We've heard a little bit about cell phones. But I think, all in all, I think that my message tonight would be that during my 5 years on the board, I am constantly reminded of how powerful those two simple words, just to say thank you. Mm-hmm. So on behalf of the board and district leadership, thank you to our students, our families, and our staff who choose ABSS every day. Yeah. It is contagious. I think Dr. Hall or somebody mentioned about the energy, and it is contagious when you go in and out of the schools. And it's so easy sometimes to focus on the challenges that we don't always focus on the successes. Yeah. And we have a lot to be proud of. It was nice to kick off our first board meeting on the first day of school with our cute little pictures, and really hone in and sharpen our focus on academics and facilities. Because I think we can agree, we have spent a lot of time on finances the past couple of years. So thank you, Mr. Messer. But it's really nice to be able to get back to the basics and what we're really here for Sawyer and for all those who are going to follow in Sawyer's footsteps in the school district is just, making and fruity. I think, Sawyer, you have a senior or junior? Senior. So we've got two seniors this year. Did y'all do the senior sunrise this morning? No? Oh, you're, okay, gotcha.
Addison did. She wore out.
Gotcha. But there's a lot of excitement this time of year, and I want us to hang on to this excitement through the entire school year. So that's all that I have. I will turn it over to Vice Chair for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Board. I make the motion that we enter closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3 to preserve attorney-client privilege, North Carolina General Statute 143-318 .11A6 to consider confidential personal information protected under North Carolina General Statute 115C-319 and 115C-321.
Thank you, Mr. Engel. Is there a
Second.
second? Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 7-0. We will move into closed session at this time. We are back in open session. At this time, I invite Yolanda Anderson, our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, to the podium. And as she's making her way to the podium, on behalf of the board, we want to wish you a very happy birthday.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Fleming, I ask that you approve the personnel report as presented in closed session.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Is there a
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Anderson.
Thank you.
Before we adjourn, I would also like to wish an early birthday to board member Tamika Harvey, who will be celebrating. I hate Fruity has already left, but happy birthday to you. We hope that will bring you a fabulous year as well. Is there any other business before the board?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you for being with us, and we wish you a wonderful 4 more days of back-to-school celebrations.